start the round on defense. Circuit Royale, a map with a gigantic skill check for first point. We roll out on Sigma, Sojourn, Widow, Emo Man, and Mercy, which means we've got range for days. Medium high heals and some CC. As long as the enemy team doesn't get too close to us and split us up, we can cover a ton of ground from safety. Enemy team has Demon, Soldier, Ashe, Lucio, and Moira. They want to get weirdly close to us and lick our foreheads, so mentally I'm prepared to be light on my feet and ready to punish their strange, psychotic behavior. This general idea guides my decision making for the rest of the match. If you have an idea for how your team will approach the fight, then you have everything you need to play to your strengths. Demon says I'm cute and comes in for a kiss. I tell her I'm not single and she respectfully goes after my friend, which isn't a red flag at all. Demon assumes I'm playing hard to get and applies some pressure, and I throw a rock at her shield, cause I'm gold. Enemy team advances and we back up, cause we're shooters, not brawlers. And just like that, we're at our effective range again and pressuring payload. Enemy team wants to lick our foreheads, so we know it's only a matter of time before they dive us again. They break my shield, and I take on the spam as best I can. I land a rock on Gundam Girl and a few other things when she flies past me and I pop ult on the payload. I slam that Ashe out of existence and face my not-so-secret admirer. She slobbers all over my face and I pass out. They cap point, and I realize I'm gonna have to throw hands in order to slow them down. I decide to go with the German Terminator since I haven't learned Gundam Girl yet. I brought some brawl into our team comp, which synergizes well with Emo Man. I'm not thrilled about facing a Bastion, but I can always outplay him. This will require more risk considering how large I am, but if I work around his cooldowns, we should be able to stop them. Bastion reminds me why I hate him, and Gundam Girl makes a pass at my team. She successfully seduces Emo Man into a long nap. I get out a choke and set up for a terrifying angle on the enemy. They decide they don't want the smoke and we rotate to a better position. Safe to say they aren't feeling too confident, so we take the space they left behind. Enemy team advances and Emo Man decides to ult. I dive Moira because I'm gold and the concept of fade is too advanced. I rotate back towards main to keep that payload right where it is as we try to take control of the team fight. Soldier pops ult on my backline and gets a rail to the face. I try to reposition and get caught and choke. My doctor says I don't get to die yet. I accept my new lease on life and start using cover as though I actually have game sense. Enemy team has captured the point, but with limited access to the rest of the map, we have a chance to burn a lot of their time. Demon tries to slash my face off and I reciprocate with a hammer, which isn't assault, it's our love language. She backs off to tell her friends we're dating now as my doctor screams at me from the sky. Naturally, I assume this means she approves as we kill a cowboy and a DJ who happen to be passing by on skates. Poor guy. Bastion gets what he deserves for existing at all, and I check for flankers. We get a full stop and set up for an even longer stall. Shadow's ready, and that's when my lizard brain takes center stage. If they commit down main, I'm in for a juicy shatter. I get that special tingle in my loins and let it rip. Demon dives in for a kiss, but I go for her friends instead because I'm toxic. We take out everyone we can see and stall them again. We exchange some ults and I miss a dive onto Demon. I just wanted to apologize for being toxic, but she's not hearing any of that. We back up and fight for our lives to stabilize. MRM gets murked by Skynet's soldier and I land a fire strike on Cruella de Vil. I round the corner for cover and try to push him back. Demon stabs the homie and I decide to take a quick nap. The enemy advances further into the last point and I swap over to D.Va. She's my best hero, and would give us the mobility and mitigation we need to burn what's left on the clock. Potentially. I head up to high ground to get a better view and start annoying people. Cowboy says hi, and I tell him I don't speak English. Demon flirts with my friends again, so I slap her on the back of the head. Bastion tries an angle and we just leave him there. Cowboy pops ult and I spit in his eye, but he's not into that apparently. This is what I get for trying to be accommodating, I guess. I decide to stay on D.Va though and continue to be annoying. Skynet malfunctions, and I discover I can eat the missiles. I'm quite low on HP despite this, and the DJ on skates tells me he wants to die. We oblige, and I rotate back to me. Demon squares up, and we jump her out of her mech. I clean up a kill on Bastion, and Moira plays hide and seek, but she's terrible at it, so she dies. I try to tell Cowboy we got off on the wrong foot, but I say it in Korean. This frightens him, so I pelt him with affection all the way around the corner until he dies. One more successful team fight means we've got the upper hand next round, so we lock in. Time starts running out as they prepare to dive. Demon whiffs her ult, and I leave Emo Man to die by himself. It's what he would have wanted though, so it's not messed up. I get that tingle in my loins again as the D.Va bomb calls to me. Enemy team pops everything, and I pray I can get back in my mech. I do, and D-Mech my not-so-secret admirer. Her and Cowboy get stuffed, and we set our sights on what's left. I eat what I can and pause for health. Cruella gets mauled by Dalmatians, and the DJ gets punched out of existence. We stall them at 2 points as we go for 3 next round. Siggy Pig is another one of my best tanks, so I swap to him for attack. I land a rock on Germinator and we apply pressure from all angles. They use a ton of cooldowns and we calmly keep pushing the payload. We trade a couple of kills, but I stay out of reach so we can maintain the momentum. I land another rock on Ryan and May tries to make me hate her, but it's just not gonna happen. I will always love her, even if she's evil. Ryan gives MRM a permanent concussion, and we spread out so we don't lose our ground. I punch May a couple times because she exists, and I pop ult over her wall. I only catch her, but a single kill is still valuable. Your ults don't have to be pogs, they just have to get the party started. Juno gets lost because she's not an earthling, and I put some pressure on that Ashe. She takes a short nap in the middle of the street, and I leave her there because I mind my business. MRM lands a massive nade, and Soj rails Ryan back to spawn. The enemy retreats, and we take as much space as they're willing to give. Stray Dalmatians find Cruella in the hospital and exact revenge. I hang out on payload because no one else is pushing it. If you don't prioritize the objective, you are quite literally wasting time. Hog lands a nice hook but gets melted. May pops ult for the full stop. Sojourn tells her that global warming is inevitable, causing her to pass out, and I send Cruella to the dog pound to think about her actions. Juno takes a pair to the face and we push hard for second point. Sojourn gets caught in rotation, but Emo Man starts playing My Chemical Romance at max volume. This motivates us and reminds us of simpler times when alternative rock was at its best. Hog dies from headbanging too hard, and so does Moira. I take this golden opportunity to hunt Bastion down and claim a ton of space. Demon tells me she's missed me too much, and I welcome her return. I tell her I've gotten old, I want to give her when the time's right, which isn't ominous at all. I throw a rock at nothing because it had to be done, and keep the pressure on main. Demon stabs me, and I respond with ult because I'm toxic. I end up catching Sierra somehow and roll with it. Demon's demeched, and I resort to punching because I'm still growing as a person. Cruella tries to steal another dog, and I'm convinced she'll never change her ways, so we shoot her. We advance for one last fight to take this home. I throw a rock in the corner because I'm a top 500 Sigma male. Xion goes for a desperate flank, and Demon tries to eat my face. She eventually succeeds because she's just too cute when she's slashing me into a million pieces. We position to lock down as much of the area as possible as I recover my body parts. My doctor brings me back, and I hack Xion with ransomware. They kill my doctor, and I fight because there's nothing better to do. I show Demon I can levitate, but she's unimpressed. Thankfully, we've got tons of time, but this is Overwatch. It ain't over till it's over. I hope you never have to learn this the hard way. I swap back to Diva to make some space for us to close out the round. I rotate around the outside so I can maximize my impact. Sierra says hello, and I respond with rockets, which is normal in my culture. We take one of them out, and I press our numbers advantage from up top. Cruella gets mauled by a Schnauzer. I dive BAP and punch him in the mouth. He gets blown up, and so does Xion. We demech Gundam Girl, and Sierra pops a desperate ult. We dodge it, clean up, and score for the win. GG's. Mechanics are important. I want to establish that clearly up top so there's no confusion about that. That said, there are other skills equally essential to success in Overwatch. Skills like game sense, which include concepts like adaptation, positioning, and cooldown tracking. Further still, there are playstyles unique to your personality that affect every other skill that makes a great player. Those playstyles are what we're diving into today, specifically regarding confidence. But we can't talk about confidence if we don't talk about its rival, fear. Fear is incredibly powerful. It dominates most, if not all, of human behavior in some way, And it does this from the shadows. You can't see it, but you know when it's there. On the battlefield and in life, fear is often regarded as something to be faced and overcome. While true, most of us aren't taught how to do that. It's not always as simple as choosing to do something you're terrified of. Getting to a place internally where you can overcome your fear requires a level of willpower that most people just don't have by default. Some of us do, but for the vast majority of us that do not, this is for you. Every single Overwatch player that has ever existed and every single player that will ever exist has been flamed by their timid teammates for actually playing the game. Risk is an exceptionally powerful potential energy. It goes up considerably the closer you are to death or ruin. As a result, most folks absorb very little risk in their lives if they can help it, which is fine. You're free to live your life the way you want to. But don't you dare start complaining about how nothing changes for you. Anyone can do just about anything, but not everyone is willing to do the work required. The idea of equivalent exchange originates from one of the greatest anime of all time, Full Metal Alchemist. Side note, Brotherhood. Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Better plot, better pace, but that's neither here nor there. Equivalent exchange is a simple principle of equality. To acquire something, something of equal value must be given up. It's mathematical at its roots, and it's very simple math at that. Consider the mathematics of a one-on-one fight in Overwatch. Overwatch is a war consisting of many battles. Each battle must have a winner and a loser. Even if no one dies, there's an exchange of space, resources, and positioning. So whether you're the only one walking away from a scrap or the only one left on high ground, these exchanges are a constant in the formula of Overwatch. In Overwatch and in life, these exchanges come at a price. The higher the price, the higher the reward. That price is measured in risk. From making friends to being more than friends, anything worth having in life incurs some level of risk. Your relationship to risk is a pretty reliable indicator of the kind of person you are. If you aren't too big a fan of who you are now, you can always incur some risk to switch things up. You're never stuck, no matter how much it seems that way. Life gives us countless places to practice taking risks and to ultimately master the game itself. When we decide to be consistently courageous over time, we find that we can walk deeper into the terrible storms we experience throughout our lives. That something that spurs us on despite the high winds and thunder is confidence. And you can't fake confidence, no matter what anyone tells you. You earn that. Love the hand that fate deals you and play it as your own. Marcus Aurelius. Like war, Overwatch is a game of space. There are key strategic territories on every map that are structured so well they can guarantee a win if utilized properly. As discussed in a previous video, Overwatch can be very complex if we try to absorb all of it at once. We can drown in all of the knowledge available to us, and many of us do. Think of this channel as a life raft, a still space for you to observe the flux of a wonderfully deep game. To this end, our most powerful weapon is simplicity. We need to distill all the dimensions of game sense into actionable pieces that we can actually work with in our games. Too many of us neglect the basics. We assume we understand them and miss out on the gifts that mastering the basics can give us. As our understanding of the basics grow, our ability to experiment and discover techniques and strategies on our own grows too. Despite how it may seem, I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm here to give you the blueprint to figure it out on your own. I'll even go so far as to say the word basics is a bit of a misnomer connotatively. It has the connotation, that is to say, the feeling of something that isn't worth your complete attention, like a plate, when it's actually the atoms that hold that plate and everything else for that matter together. The so-called basics are essential and the only real ways to mastery. So I'm not calling them the basics. They're the essentials. Consider what is essential in a game of Overwatch. Some level of synergy, whether that be from engagement timing, ult timing, or mechanical skill, is essential. The use of cover and height in order to rotate safely and secure eliminations is essential. Health and some means to restore it is essential. The obligatory teabagging you must do to someone if they were talking crazy in the chat and ended up losing. Essential. The list goes on. But there are a few that aren't as high up on that list that affect literally everything else. One of those is courage. If there's one thing you will absolutely be after playing enough Overwatch besides tilted and a little strange, you will be seen. Your teammates will see you. Your ravenous enemies will see you too. And the name of the game is that it's either you who's walking away from a fight or them. At some point, every team fight distills down to how well you can throw hands. But Overwatch isn't a fighting game. You don't start every fight with the same health or resources. Fights start and end constantly from multiple angles and multiple people. You might knock the daylights out of somebody and immediately get smacked in the back of the head with a boulder right afterwards. Some fights are more like hunts, where one person doesn't even know they're being preyed upon until it's too late. There's a lot to watch out for, and the courage to figure out exactly what those things are is essential. If you constantly stand near your spawn and never venture out of perfect safety, you not only waste time and lose, you also miss out on the chance to grow. But growth isn't cheap. Growth demands a price. It's one thing to grow alone from the safety of your home. It's an entirely different thing to grow slowly in the presence of 5 people who want to ensure you fail, and 4 others who are also being hunted with you. Emotions run quite high through the ups and downs of Overwatch Ranked, and that's why there are players who opt out of the experience altogether. They find their home in quick play, where there are no stakes, and if someone leaves, another person is added to take their place. I use it to warm up. But if that's all you do and your goal is to get better, you're missing out on the best place to do it. Social pressure can be immense in this game. There will be games where you're insulted from start to finish and still lose. There will be games where you don't even have a team. Just 4 other people on very strong acid or something running in separate directions as far as they can go. And when they inevitably die, they bark at each other and stop playing altogether. They repeat this and ruin countless games for all of us in a variety of ways. But here's the thing, my fellow Mafia members. Those matches are the exception, not the rule. Most games are full of players who care, and sometimes we let our passion get the best of us, but only because we care. I completely understand why you wouldn't want to subject yourself to verbal and emotional abuse when you're just trying to relax or learn, but like everything I ever talk about in these videos, it's a muscle. You get stronger from exposure and experience. Some lobbies are so cursed, they make you wonder if you actually know how to play the game at all. And those ones are tough to swallow, I'll level with you. One game can absolutely devastate your confidence. But level with me for a second. Of the few guarantees in life, a bruised ego is chief among them. You will be humiliated one way or another. You can lament this aspect of the human condition all you like, but it won't stop. Not on its own. When you get absolutely rolled in Overwatch, you're gonna feel it. You're gonna take it home with you. But that's not the only thing available to take home. You also gain experience, and just like an RPG, when you get enough, you level up. Confident players are just experienced players, which means there was a time when they were the problem and they had to work to fix it. I believe in manifestation. The power of words is unlimited, but you can't manifest yourself into confidence. You step up unconfidently and you get beat up. If we fixate on the blow to our ego, like most players, we miss the forest for the trees. We're so concerned with looking like a clown in a lobby full of complete strangers that we completely miss out on the value of the fight. If you're an Overwatch veteran, you know viscerally how quickly a steamroll can turn into a fight for your life. You've certainly watched an easy W turn into the worst L. You've fumbled the game-saving play, and you've had games where you just couldn't get it together enough to play at the level you know you can. All of those games provided experience. They weren't always pleasant, especially in the beginning, but at some point you made a choice. A choice that most players, and most people quite frankly, never do. You courageously chose to see yourself honestly, to accept yourself as you are, limitations and all. Of the brave souls who chose to see themselves, even fewer of them did so from a place of love. And without that love, my fellow Mafia members, we can't get very far. Not with sound mental health and enthusiasm. Games like Overwatch have the potential to hollow out the soul of a person when misused. It's not the game's fault, it's a problem with the player. They tend to take things a little too seriously, and they often have pretty fragile egos, so one loss can send them spiraling into self-hate. Worse still, they may not be capable of accepting that they lost, which means they must blame someone else. But again, this is not a fault of the game, it's a problem with the player. Their attachment to the game is imbalanced, and that imbalance manifests itself as dis-ease. This disease attacks their desire to have fun, and imprisons their enjoyment of the experience beneath victory. If they don't win, they don't enjoy themselves, which is crazy work. I call these players Adderall Andes. You can have the best game of your life and still lose badly. This is Overwatch. If you can't loosen up and deal with the ebb and flow of wins and losses, if you can't brush yourself off and keep it pushing, you're gonna have a really bad time. Adderall Andy can't accept loss and plays with a clenched anus, and that's just one of the 7 wonders of ELO hell. Another one of them are what I call timid Tammies. Timid Tammies don't actually play the game. They stand way too far back, do nothing, and complain when nothing happens. They have to be carried, or it's an automatic loss. And the cherry on top is that they almost always insta-lock supports. Mercy, Mizuki, Moira, and then proceed to stay out of position for the rest of the game, heal no one but themselves, walk directly into choke, and complain when they die with more DPS than the rest of the team they're neglecting. My point is that I understand the fear and disdain that we have for these kinds of players and the cursed lobbies they habitually create. That said, every cursed game you play with them still provides experience. And through that experience, you can protect yourself mentally and emotionally by acknowledging that even though this match is likely an automatic L, you can still get something of value from it. And once you're good enough, you can win anyway. But none of that can happen if you don't step up to the plate. You need to risk swinging and missing if you want to hit a home run. You need to be willing to lose if you want to win. From matches to one-on-one fights, you must incur risk. If you're a dive character, you need to risk taking a stupid route to a fight and getting deleted. And if you're on a team of competitive players that aren't morons, no one will fault you for trying. 'Cause we're trying too. And we know, whether we win or lose, we're walking away with the most valuable reward possible for our efforts. Experience. And confident players are just experienced players. So what are you waiting for? Good luck. Have fun. I'll see you next week.